Hi, I'm Kathy from Stitch It Together, and I wanted to show you the math that's involved in order to scale up the Carly Porter patterns and the individual patterns. So there is just a little bit of math involved. To review, what I had done is I had stitched out the uh, whole cloth pattern into a size that would fit in my throat space because I was unable to have scaled the individual pieces. And so I stitched it at 17 inches. And now what I need to do is I don't want to stitch it at 17 inches anymore. What I need to do is to scale it to be 30 inches. So my desired size is going to be 30. And so what that means is there's going to be a number that I'm going to get from this that I can multiply all my pattern pieces by. That's going to tell me what those pieces need to be at 30. So what I did was at that circle was 17 inches, and I measured the height of all the individual pieces that were inside of that circle. So I have a number for this height right here of all the individual pieces. And the whole circle was 17 inches. So I have a known number of 17. That's my known pattern size. And I want it to be 30. That's my desired size. And I'm going to solve for X. So when I do this math right here, I go 30 divided by 17, I will find out what this number is. And it's 1.76. So that number, 1.76, is the number that I need to multiply all of those heights, all the 29 pieces that are inside the whole pattern in order to find out what those pieces would need to be if I wanted to make it 30 inches. So that is in fact what I did. And you can do that pretty easily in an Excel document. So again, just to review, I have this multiple now of 1.76. So an example would be when the when the whole pattern was at 17 inches, the very center piece measured out to be 2.07. So what that means is to find out, well, if I want to make this 30 inches, bigger than my throat space, what does that pattern, that individual piece need to be? So if I multiply it by 1.76, which is then 76, 3.64, that's the height adjustment for QCT in order to print or to sew out all of those pieces at 30 inches. So in an Excel document, I would just take all of the measurements that I took at 17 inches, and they were all heights. And I would multiply them by 1.76. And I would then take that number and I would open QCT. It's going to take a second. And I'm going to go to select and sew. And you're going to pick your file. And you're going to pick the piece. You're going to have to do every single one of these pieces. I created a file just for 30 inches. And when you use 1-point placement, it will have a box that you can fill in. And for me, I only measured the height. And because with this is the ratio lock, so long as this is locked and I enter those numbers, what they were at 17 inches multiplied by my the multiple 1.76, and that will be in my Excel document. If I put that into the height box right here, And so long as this is locked, QCT is going to find the width for me. I don't have to do that measurement. You could reverse it if you wanted to find all the widths and not the height. I mean, you could find both of them, but you really only need one. If you only had the width, it would automatically find the height for you. And so as I have already entered this information, I'm not going to resave it, but then you would do this for every single one of them. And once you've entered this in there to what the height you want it to be, you would then save that pattern information. And you would save it. Again, I put it into a pattern that had all the 30 inches in it. And I named it such so that I would always know that this is the 30-inch information. So that is what you would need to do in order to scale something that's bigger in your throat. This math will work really for anything. You could scale this up further if you didn't want to do it at 30 inches. If you wanted, eventually, I'm going to scale this up to 60 inches. So in which case, I would just change the math just a little bit, just to give you a quick demonstration. So if I wanted to scale this, so 17 was the information that I had, times something would give me 60. So if I do the math for that, so it would be 60 divided by 17. So it would be 3.52. I would change that multiple to 3.52 to find out what the sizes of all of those pattern pieces needed to be in order to be 60 inches. Now, if you needed to, for some reason, to make something smaller, well, I say some reason, there would be a lot of reasons you might need to make something smaller. This works exactly the same way. You don't have to be going in just one direction. So if I needed to go smaller, if I wanted to find out what did they want to be at, say 10 inches. So this is my known. That's my known size. And this is I would want it to, let's say I want it to be 10 inches. This is my desired size. And this is what I would need to multiply by. So you would just solve it just like this. And then X is going to be less than 1. Now it's going to be a decimal. And it would be 10 divided by 0.58. So instead of having a whole number, you would have a fraction. So it works either way. I hope that this explains the scaling and what you would need to do to quilt out that pattern.